Yeah, so now the that Instagram kind of photo contest is underway. So I'm actually really curious. That's super fun for me to be able to get to see that kind of stuff. So maybe somebody is gonna have, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like there's no limits. Like it could be anything. Would you want to probably play into the gym related theme of what like we're kind of all about? Well, yeah, maybe. Or are you gonna make it where, I don't know. Right, we'll see. But yeah, as long as you got some kind of Sam thing, like I've got one of the shaker bottles. That's all. That's the only real requirement. But yeah, plan for today with back. No, what am I saying? Plan for today with chest. Yesterday with legs. We'll see. I think we'll just freaking see. Because I got to see how I feel. If my shoulder is like a little, just like if I got a little something, and you know what I mean. I'm not talking like full on injury, but if you get just a little something, it's probably not an awesome idea to throw around as much weight as you can on incline, right, or on whatever. So I'll get warmed up and see how I feel. My biceps, especially the outer peak over here, are still extra tender from 2 days ago from that arm day, and I think I know why. But let's explain that in a second. But yeah, so we'll see. Either way, I'm going to finish this chest day off with a solid pump. Mark's going to be in there in a little bit if he's not already. So we're gonna, we'll just be working at the same time. But that'll be good. I haven't seen him for a couple days. But yeah, that'll be solid. But one thing I was just thinking about with, even with why my biceps were extra sore today was, I was kind of hyping up reclined curls where you set the bench up on an incline, you lean back, and you're doing very controlled squeezing curls in that kind of like just leaning back position with your arms sort of behind you. And I was just kind of thinking like that is a very effective movement. And I don't mean effective as though like it's the best, but it's just very dense. Like if I'm gonna do an arm day or a bicep workout, I feel like I like splitting up a heavy set with like a light squeezing set, which lets me hit it from all angles, because it's like, okay, I got a lot of tension here and I got a good, really solid squeeze over here. But that movement of those incline seated curls is very, like, I feel like it hit everything that I wanted. Really good stretch at the bottom, a lot of load at the top, or not the top, but at the middle. Like if you could have if somehow you could have a force measurement reader in my bicep, it would read higher force when your arm is like parallel with the ground, and then it would actually get lighter as you get up to the top, because you don't have to, like, you're only working with a percentage of the weight and the rest of it is just getting translated through your bone structure. But what I'm getting at is that was a very good movement, and enough where now I'm going to say to myself, all right, that felt so good last time I did it, I'm probably going to want to do it again. I'm probably going to want to make it a staple of my workouts, just because it was so, like, just, I don't want to say effective, but I could at least feel that I definitely did substantial damage with it in a in a good way, not in like a tendon wrenching kind of way, So just something to keep in mind. Like if you ever come in and you do a specific movement, maybe you do leg extensions with single leg instead of double leg, or maybe you do, a row that you don't normally do, or you pick a tricep dip machine that maybe you normally use the new one, and then this time you try the old one. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, if a movement really hits, and maybe you do it in a different way, maybe you watch somebody else do it a certain way, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll try to turn my hands inward instead of outward. That's really valuable, like hands-on experience to be able to tell you, ooh, I really like how that felt. And not only is it telling you like, okay, I want to do that movement again, but it's also kind of like a jumping off point for you to be able to think, oh, I really like that kind of movement. I've seen videos of people do this, and this, which is kind of similar. Maybe I should also try doing that sort of stuff, because I think you'd be, I'm not trying to call anybody out, like for me as well, like we'd be lying to ourselves if we said we've tried every movement possible, because it's not just every movement. It's like, okay, every movement, every exercise, but then the exercise you can kind of tweak it a little bit. Maybe you can do you could do a heavy set, you could do a light squeezing set, you could do a holding, burning set. Like I could sit and just do standing dumbbell curls. I don't know how many times, but I could easily think about 10 different ways to do a set of dumbbell curls, and each set would be totally different from the last one. Like, so the idea that you have it all together and like you know everything about how every movement feels all the time, that's just not, that's not right. And I don't think people ever say that. Like, I've never seen a video where somebody says, like, I've done every gym movement ever, or anything like that. I do see rating videos where guys are like, rating the top 10 chest movements. In the 10th place, the worst movement, flat bench. Really? It's not bad. You're just saying you don't like it compared to something else. So what I'm getting at is, you kind of have to build your own, not itinerary, but you got to build your own contact list, like your own Rolodex of not only movements, but also styles of movements. And then one more level, combinations of styles of movements. And then you get your own little, even if it's kind of subconscious, like list of workouts that you really like doing. Like, I think that, that'd actually be kind of easy for me. I'm sure I can write down a couple, like 8 set workouts that I really like. But it's, then it's kind of weird because, like, are you doing a work, if let's say somebody was trying to look at, like, do a Tom Platz leg day or do like a Jay Cutler chest day. It's, is the point that you want to do their workout, or is it, more valuable to try to emulate, like, coming up with your own workout for you? So just like something to think about. I wouldn't want to just, not blindly, but I wouldn't want to just really catch myself trying to emulate exactly what someone else is doing, because, well, I'm not them, I'm me. So I want to kind of maybe use that as a jumping off point and, like, see what they're doing and maybe understand their logic, and then try it myself and see what happens. I don't know when the next run-in would be, but this will be a question I'm going to ask Chris, because when we worked out with David, he told us that one time he was doing this program. I don't know if this was something that he came up with or something that, like, Hadi Rambod had him doing, but he was talking about this leg growth phase where he had 3 leg days in a row, where each one was like a separate, like, style. Like, it wouldn't just be 3 big leg days in a row. Like, each day had a point, or something along those lines. And I've never tried that, so I definitely love to hear an explanation. And then there's a million other guys who are all total beasts who also have come up with their own random things that you might not think about. So that's the last thing I want to do, is get boxed in with my training. Like, I want to improve it, and I want to kind of, like, I don't know if you think this, but in my mind, if I'm imagining what it looks like to condense my training down into what I think is effective, then sometimes it might feel like you're just trying to hone in on, like, one point, when really, I think it's more so not exactly shrinking yourself down to what you think is totally perfect, but maybe it's a better idea to think about, like, just broadening your horizons of thinking about, different kind of movements or whatever, and just, like, trying different stuff. Really boil everything I just said down for the last, like, however many minutes. It's just try new things and then see if you like them. That's it. I didn't mean to turn that into a total freaking ramble of an idea, but no, today will be good. I was sitting out handing out Halloween candy, and I definitely had more than my fair share of nerds, or not nerds, but of Sweet Tarts ropes. So I'm definitely a little bit carbed up today. So that counts as a little bit of a refeed. I wasn't sitting there slamming a whole bowl, but I definitely had like probably 160 grams of carbs that was extra compared to what I was normally eating. So I'll make use of that little bit of extra carbs and really see how pumped up I can get today. But yeah, this will be cool. I'm gonna well, you know, this is more so for anybody who cares, but I'm trying to figure out how to make the gym lighting wise look cooler, because like I want it to look cool in there. And sometimes it's like with the lights that are already in the building of like the rental unit, it's just not like super cool. Like it's not shadowy, like you wouldn't say it's good lighting. But I put up all those other lights and like they're a little like, they're almost too much. Like they're not so, they don't look normal enough. Like they look too strange. So I want to find that middle ground. So if you're informed on the subject, I'd love to hear some thoughts in terms of what you think I could change up. What I really want to do is just like hang them from the ceiling, but the ceiling's like, you know, 20 feet high, and even if I did have a ladder, I don't want to go up a 20-foot ladder, right? That's just gonna, you know, that's some risky business. So I'll think about it. Not that it's that important, but you know, that's more of a me thing. But yeah, let's go get pumped. This will be a good start. Not wild, not freaking wild or nothing. Just a little kind of hand over hand, bent over cable press. You know, and I get some hate for this, especially by those who are very particular about their movements. You know, it's, and I don't even understand. I don't see the hate. I see this as like taking a regular press an extra level further. I know it's kind of like old school, but instead of just doing a bent over cable press here to here, well, I'm going to alternate each rep and put a hand over each hand so I get extra far into the contraction, if you kind of feel me. I don't do every set like this, and sometimes this doesn't even feel good, so I won't do it. But today, as a good starter, it's solid. So 130 on either side is heavy enough that it's heavy, but not so heavy I'm going to hurt myself. So I'll just really try to get, I mean, this is obvious, try to get my mind into my chest, but that's really what I'm thinking. I don't want any front delts, like I'm not pushing up here, like I'm trying to just keep my shoulders as retracted as I can, at least within reason, and just get all this kind of burning. That's really what I'm aiming for, a bit more of a burn with this one. All right. Okay. Two more of those. And these are kind of acting not only as a working set, but also just like warm up, because I'll do a regular press next. 2. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Incline converging chest press will be perfect next. A little more standard of a movement. 3 will be good here. Heavy enough that it's heavy, but not so heavy I'm gonna pull something. I want to stay out of the danger range of weight, at least when I'm dieting, as much as possible.
One more of those. I'm going to focus a little more on the squeeze for this next one, though. What do you think? Should I do one more or should I just move on? I feel like one more. One more. Same weight, same everything. All right, okay. Two. Okay. Let's finish with something. I'm not sure what, but it'd be something. I think just a standard pec deck finisher will suffice. That is, if I bring it. Which I think I will, but you never know. I actually got to scoot you forward a little bit. Don't want to bump into you. All right. I think that's enough. All right. Yeah, that was solid. Decently quick, not too hefty. So honestly, today, with the most weight being the 3 plates on that machine, that might open me up for next chest day going a little bit heavier. But how about we just focus on today first and see how pumped I actually ended up getting. A little extra pumped from some Halloween garbage. Yeah, this light's all right. Let me crank this thing down a touch. There we go. Yeah, now we're cooking with something. There we go. All right. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Even just standing, not even doing a pose. Yeah, a little bit more cut up. Just a touch, day by day by day by day. And it all adds up. But Let's roll.
All right, that was a good lift. And now we're entering phase 2. Maybe we can call this phase 3. I don't know. I feel like phase 1 of this diet was the initial like water drop off, where like in a week I lost like 10 pounds. Not body fat, just carbs and water. And then, now I got under 250. So now I'm aiming for that sub 240 mark. We're headed down to 240. I hypothesize that should take about if I'm going a little quicker than a pound a week, just a little bit, then that should take a little bit more than 5 weeks. So around that kind of December-ish, early December mark, that should put me in that 240 range. And that's a big jump. Not in terms of like physical feeling, like I'll probably feel the same that I do now, but visually for me to get down to 240 from 250 is a very substantial change in leanness. And then it'll be an even bigger jump going from 240 to 230. All right, once I'm close to that 230 mark, that's where it's going to be, not exactly show ready, but closer to it, right? Much closer to it. And that's in the further future. And I'm going to try to enjoy it this time. Like, I definitely enjoyed being lean, but it come like actually dieting that hard, because I'd never dieted that hard before. Like, I've gotten lean, but that was a little extra lean. It's like when you're in new territory, or like, I guess what it would be like to be like exploring a new thing. Like, I don't know, you're kind of on edge because it's like, all right, this is new ground. I've never done this before. Really doing anything you've never done before comes with a little bit of, not uncertainty, but just like it feels like the stakes are higher. But now that I've already done it once, I think it'll be a lot easier. So I won't feel, nothing will be a surprise is what I'm hoping. And I'm hoping I'll be able to keep pushing it even further and just have it feel like it's business as normal, business as usual. But yeah, that'll be good. So I just had a bunch of keto buns yesterday, and I think they gotta be off the table. They like, even going to bed, it just made me feel like super bloated and like gross. And normally I eat a ton of food in an off season, so just the feeling of having a bunch of food in my stomach is like kind of just normal. But dieting down, I'm a little more sensitive. So the idea of like the low carb, like very high fiber bread or like tortillas is, dietary fiber, if it's insoluble, well then you're not actually digesting it and breaking it down, right? Like a person, oh man, like what's the story? Like, everybody has heard this. Remember the Lion King, where they're talking about how, I gotta remember. Who was that? Who was the muskrat character? Or not muskrat, the... Oh, shit, what are those? The warthog and the prairie dog. Yeah, remember the prairie dog's talking about how he can eat hay, or he can eat like grass to survive, because like he's supposed to be vegetarian or something. And the dad is telling him like, well, you can't actually digest that. That's dietary fiber, at least in its soluble form. Like the whole gist is, it's like these long chains of what you'd call carbohydrates, right? But the chains are so long and like so well bound together that sure, it can pass through your system fine, but you don't actually digest it. Like, it doesn't get broken down, right? Like, not to get gross, but if you ate a bunch of corn, clearly that passed through your system, but it didn't get completely broken down. So the idea with food that has like extra high fiber is it's more filling, but without so many calories. But if you eat too much of it, it's like, if I can only have one, well, then what's the point? So I think this is gonna be a bit stricter in that sense, because I really made use of those in my last dieting, not as much into like deep prep, but my last dieting phase. And it's just, it's kind of like it's fine if you have a couple, but for the most part, it's kind of like you're trying to cheat the system. You know, and if you play by the rules of just eating regular foods, you know, high protein, and reducing your overall calorie intake, you're just gonna have a better time. So I think I'm gonna go to the grocery store either tonight or tomorrow, and rather than get a bunch of those low carb buns again, I think it'll just end up being a little bit more centered on some rice cakes. Rice cakes freaking work, that's for sure. I mean, obviously they're just food, but they're decently filling, and even just the process of eating them, like, they're pretty aerated, so it feels like you're eating a lot of food for 8 grams of carbs. You know, I mean, 8 grams of carbs. What feels like you're eating more? If you eat 5 Skittles, or if you eat a whole rice cake. And obviously the rice cake's got way more space. But I'll get into more of that when I actually go to the grocery store. That'll be perfect timing for a little grocery trip. So, yeah, plan now. Just go home. I've got some weeds outside that are getting a little messy that I'm gonna have to take care of. I think I'll actually have to get a weed whacker. But beyond that, just get my meals in and chill a little bit. Go play with the kitten. So I'll see you tomorrow for something.